I'm not sure what Project 2025's position on Social Security is.
Yes, dude. Yes, he is. Everything he's saying here, that he's trying to dance around. He's trying to tap dance around this. But of course he's on board. He is a Heritage Foundation talking point machine.
Swalwell.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro, thank you for joining us today. I think it is important that you're here as one of the leading conservative voices in the country. And the country has, in the last couple of weeks, talked a lot about and Googled Project 2025. It's one of the most Googled search terms right now. And you're not going to get any censorship from me. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, I think it would help us understand on just like a scale of 0 to 100%, how much do you support Project 2025?
I think, like President Trump, I haven't looked all that deeply at Project 2025, but it seems that Democrats on this committee, sort of like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, if they say Project 2025 enough, their presidential candidate becomes alive again.
And so, well, let's just talk about pieces of it, and I guess you can tell me if you support it. You probably want less bureaucracy, right?
I do.
I want less bureaucracy. You want more efficiency?
I do.
I want more efficiency. You want taxpayer money spent wisely?
I do. Congrats on becoming a Republican.
Yeah. My parents would be proud. Mass deportations, it calls for that. Do you support that part?
I support the deportation of any illegal immigrant who is in the United States who is not of benefit to the generalized American public.
So if they're picking agriculture that puts food on the tables of everyday Americans, they've never committed a crime inside the United States, they didn't come across with documents, should they be deported?
If they have not paid taxes and if their draw on the taxpayer benefits are larger than the contribution they are making to the economy, or if they're involved in criminal activity, they should be deported.
How do we measure that?
The same way that the IRS measures my income every year. It seems like if the IRS can track down every aspect of every receipt that I've ever submitted, and they can do so for hundreds of millions of other Americans, they can do that for illegal immigrants as well, except for the fact that no one knows how many are in the country thanks to this administration.
So you would be cool with creating a system where they could pay those taxes if they wanted to, and then stay and work and put food on our table?
It depends on how long it would take for them to pay the taxes, and they would also have to go presumably to the back of the line, although I'm not sure why I'm testifying about immigration policy at this point.
How about banning the abortion pill? That's part of Project 2025. Do you support that part?
I think that that's a state-by-state issue on a personal level.
I'm just asking you.
Sure, I'm
There's nothing funnier than Ben Shapiro being like, Heritage Foundation, I don't know what that is. It's like, bro, come on. Literally every talking point that you've ever delivered on your broadcast has been a verbatim Heritage Foundation talking point. Why is the House Judiciary Committee holding a hearing? Collusion in the Global Alliance for Responsible Media? I don't understand this. It is pretty funny. It is pretty funny when he's like, I don't understand Project 2025. I don't know what it is. It's like, no, you love you're lying, and he's not even doing a very good job lying. He just like basically is trying to massage his way out of it. And the only reason why he's saying that is because he has to repeat whatever Trump says. And Trump recently said Project 2025 because that I don't know anything about that. Now, why did he say that? For two reasons. One, because it's nerd, okay? And two, he knows how to read the room. Project 2025, which is very real, and it's not necessarily 2025. It's more so Project 2024, Project 2023, Project 2022, Project 2020, Project 2016. It has not, like this, what they are signaling at the Heritage Foundation is just the Republican project for the past 40 years. And it hasn't stopped. It's still happening. So all these people that are like, oh my God, what about Project 2025? Yeah, like, you know, it's not new. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't be afraid of it. Of course you should be. You should be afraid of the Republican Party in general. But make no mistake, the Democrats have to not just say that they're against it, but actually tell you exactly how they plan on fighting against it. Okay? Now, having said that, it has freaked a lot of people out. You're splitting pubic hairs at this point. You're 100% right. Thank you. I am. The point is, you can go through the agenda items line by line. Okay? We've covered it before. The reality is this is just simply the Republican Party's project. It's its policy, prescriptions. This is what they wanted to do for a very long time. And this is what they are going to do inevitably, okay? But it has actually finally gotten the attention of many Americans, and they're afraid. They're afraid. And that's why Trump, being the room reader he is, recognizes that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. and recognizes that a lot of people don't want to see that ad break. And then that's the reason why he always follows up with, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, believe me. What are you looking at? You get one free Prime subscription a month. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Okay. Anyway, that's why Donald Trump is distancing himself from Project 2025, okay? Because he doesn't want to give any, for two reasons. One, because he wants to, appear more moderate. A lot of people forget that, like 2016, the reason why Donald Trump won is because he had a lot of reactionary takes, but ultimately he was able to present himself as a moderate on a lot of key issues, okay? Like better than the rest of the Republican Party on a lot of key issues. When it comes down to, Social Security, for example, things of that nature, running around with a pride flag, right? And since then, of course, in 2020, it was a very different situation. Why? Because in 2020, you saw 4 years of his actual administration and you recognize it wasn't moderate at all, right? So he lost to a cadaver. 4 years have passed when that cadaver was in charge. People experienced almost 2 years of negative real wage growth. Prices are up for everything. Inflation is crazy due to corporate, infrastructure issues, due to logistic issues during COVID, but also beyond that, due to corporate greed across the board. Okay? Greedflation, they're calling it. But it doesn't matter. To the average American, all they know is that their money is no longer as long as it once was. 4 years have passed. They forgot how insane Trump was. And all Trump needs to do now is basically not remind people of how insane he is. All he needs to do now is try to be as moderate as he possibly can. Appear as moderate as he possibly can. Felix is supposed to be on today and not Brace. Brace has left Los Angeles, unfortunately. But Felix hasn't responded to me. I just texted him. I asked him when he's coming. This is our Trump campaign on big programs in 2015. Thank you, Central Committee.
Security. We're not going to cut Social Security, but please don't say we're going to make it rich, Mr. Trump. It's Chris. I said, I have to say it. I have to be truthful. We're going to save Social Security. We're not going to cut Social Security. We're not going to cut Medicare. Carson wants to cut Medicare. He wants to get rid of Medicare. I say, it's actually a program that works great. Now, you have waste, fraud, abuse in Social Security and Medicare. We'll take care of that. We'll have proper, but you're not going to be cut. You've been paying into your plans. You've been paying into Social Security for years. Now they're coming up to you. It's getting to be that time. Me, I don't want the Social Security. Okay? But it's getting to be that time where you're going to need it. And I think it's unfair. After all these years, they want to cut you. Governor Christie wants to raise the age so that you have to wait another, pretty extended period of time. It's not fair. You've been paying in for years. We're going to take money back from all these countries that have been just absolutely eating our lunch. We're going to have so much money. So I said to the...
There you go. There you go. Like, those are very important sentiments expressed by the person who then successfully became the president, okay? Like, you need to understand, he presented himself as a moderate on a lot of popular issues within the Republican base and maybe even changed the attitude. Some for the worse, some for the better. When it comes to social spending, the Republicans were less upset about that sort of thing. It actually became like the deficit hawking kind of fell apart. You rarely ever talk about the deficit. You only talk about it under Democratic leadership, usually. That's all the Republicans ever talk about. The deficit, the deficit, the deficit, the budget, blah, 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 right? Under Trump, that attitude shifted so much that Republicans don't even talk about it as much, even under the Democratic administrations. I'm telling you, I mean, this is like, I have no actual data to basically present to you on this. I have no empirical evidence that I can point to on this issue. This is simply coming from my past 10 years of being a professional political commentator and dealing with the deficit hawks when Obama was president, dealing with deficit hawks when Trump was president, and seeing the much more limited communication of deficit hawking under the Joe Biden administration. What? Moderate Trump? What are you talking about? It started with a 30-minute stun lock on China. Oh yeah, I did. I started watching this. I watched this in the beginning, and then we did a 30-minute stun lock on China because people were coming in here repeating shit like, "Oh man, what do you think about the Filipino boast that the Chinese are taking over?" Of course, you have no data. What? I don't think there's a lot of data on how much people talk about the deficit. All you have is as of the top of the hour. I already ran it.
I do sometimes.
Oh, I'm going to talk about how Hasan Piker became the most successful and hated political streamer. It did really well, views-wise. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Hasanabi Productions had clipped this and posted it before we could clip and posted it and got 230,000 views in 20 hours. I know. I got to do like debate review when it has like a shit ton of views. Anyway, throw a rock at it. Yeah, that'll change its trajectory. As I was saying, Donald Trump presented himself as a moderate in 2016. He could not do so in 2020, but he can kind of try to do to some success in 2024. And that's precisely what he's doing. Okay. That is precisely what he's doing right now. I'm sure by now, some of you in the chat have seen the Republican agenda. Okay. For 2024. Let's take a look. With just one mention of abortion, Republican Party has laid out its 2024 policy platform. Dedication to the forgotten men and women of America. Preamble, America first, a return to common sense, blah, blah, blah. Oh, here are the items. Seal the border, stop the migrant invasion, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history, which is, of course, incredibly radical. But unfortunately, 60% of the country is now on board with it. While simultaneously, they're also on board with giving amnesty. But that's besides the point. We're not going to talk about the confusion that Americans experience on a daily basis. It is a sea of contradictions. The American voter's mind is an enigma. And inflation. Make America affordable again. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. So the reason why they're saying defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms is because they're trying to be like, oh, we're not the anti-democracy candidates. We promise. Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. End the weaponization of government against the American people. Stop the migrant crime epidemic. Demolish the foreign drug cartels. Crush gang violence. Lock up violent offenders. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Strengthen and modernize our military, making it, without question, the strongest and most powerful in the world. Keep the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content in our children. Keep men out of women's sports. Bro, they put two like weird. They're still such weirdos, bro. This kind of stuff is just weirdo. Okay? And I think it's a mistake. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. Unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. Okay? And then it goes into it a little bit. But if you notice, like, obviously, by the way, America first, also deport anyone who's mean to Israel. America first, but deport anyone who's mean to Israel. Do you understand? If you hurt Israel's feelings, you will get deported. Felix is going to be here in like 20 minutes, by the way. Anyway, more recently, Trump has made sure to try to distance himself from the controversial and lengthy Project 2025 policy document put together by some of his allies. Notably, the promises don't mention anything about abortion as Trump attempts to de-emphasize the issue and appeal to swing voters. In the entire platform, the word appears just once in a statement about the party's dedication to protecting the issue of life. It reads, "We will oppose late-term abortion." After appointing the Supreme Court justice who helped overturn the constitutional right to abortion, he said the issue should now be up to the states. I've terrorized Israel with my opinions. You will get deported. Other social issues appear more frequently, including promises related to limiting federal funding for schools, teaching so-called critical race theory, and keeping men out of women's sports. So overall, their policy platform is just like ridiculous nonsense, reads like a Trump rally, hyper-focusing on immigrant crime, Biden immigrant crime, and immigrant invasion, all this and then has a few choice ones on if you hurt the feelings of Israel, the beautiful nation state, we will deport you. But ultimately, you know, this is supposed to be, to our eyes, this obviously is radical nonsense, right? But to the average voter, when they look at this, it's just a Trump rally. Depending on how hard he hits the immigrant line, he might be able to, you know, gross out. He might be able to gross out the normie voters. But overall, he is distancing himself from Project 2025 because a lot of people see that. A lot of people on TikTok, a lot of people on Reddit lose their minds over Project 2025. And he doesn't want that stink on him. And plus, he thinks it's nerd shit. Too much reading. Project 2025 is way scarier, to be fair.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Excuse me, gentlemen. Can I ask you your stance on Palestine, sir? You look like you've been partying for a week straight. You look like an arrogant, mean black man. He is a mean son of a... What do your weekends consist of, sir? Do they consist of skiing down slopes and things?
The Project 2025 architects don't care that Trump is saying he doesn't support it in public. They know he's with them. They can always get it done under him. It's like Trump claiming he doesn't support J6 protesters and Charlottesville Nazis. Trump already did Project 2025. He literally did Project 2025, like, as far as crippling the federal, federal agencies, which is some of the more significant parts of this, by the way. Okay. Like, Project 2025 is just in writing what the actual Republican project has been. Okay. It happened already and it's going to continue happening. You need to understand this. It's not new. Anyway, Axios, by the way, came out. Axios came out with a scoop. Chuck Schumer is open to dumping Biden at the top of the ticket. 3 sources tell us. Schumer is hearing from donors and assessing the path forward. A Schumer spokesperson declined to comment. This is why I've been talking about, or rather not necessarily talking a lot about Project 2025. The reason why I'm not talking about Project 2025 as much as what you guys would want me to talk, as much as you guys want me to talk about it, is because I talk about it every day. You're capping? No, dude, I'm not capping. Every aspect of your life that is degenerated, every part of the federal government that has lost its teeth, like the legislative body being completely removed from the equation, is Project 2025. All that happened before 2025, though. And I kept repeating this over and over again. I've been warning about the obstructionist Republican project of taking civil liberties, or rather a devolvement of civil liberties that were long hard fought for, and fighting for them at the state level, taking it up to a slammed Supreme Court of the United States of America and giving massive dubs to the states under the auspices of states' rights, completely sidestepping like any kind of federal legislation or any kind of legislative agenda. That is Project 2025. Deregulation that has been happening for a very long time, but especially in overdrive since Ronald Reagan, is Project 2025. Some of the funnier points about Project 2025 is that they want to abolish the Department of Education, abolish the EPA, which they already did, basically with Chevron deference. You were one of the first people I saw talk about 2025 when you watched the Leisha Miller video like 10 months ago. I didn't even watch the Leisha Miller video. I just talked about Project 2025 back then and told you the same things I'm telling you now, which is that we are already there. And what the Democrats are not doing against the Republican agenda, okay, right now, is exactly what the Democrats will continue to not do in 2025. Oh, I did watch it. Okay, I forgot that I watched it. You did watch it. I watched the React on Sunday. Yeah, I just saw it. Elent News. That's so funny. I literally just read it. He said, I'm late. Have you seen this? Classic Hasanabi head move right there. As soon as I click away from the actual article, he's like, hey man, have you seen this?
Okay, Ron DeSantis is getting his notes from this.
Conservative plan to take over the country. Hasanabi reacts to Leisha Miller Project 2025. God damn, it says like 500,000 views. Already retracted. Schumer tells reporters, I'm for Joe. 3 minutes ago. I'm late. 3 seconds late. Well, things are happening. Things are happening at a very fast pace. The article the title that we basically read is now rendered useless by statements from the Cuck Schumer team. When is George Clooney coming on stream? I don't know. Hassan reconsidering not striking those channels when he sees the views. Wait, what? No, if anything, I'm considering striking them when I see the views. D was looking at your main channel numbers and being like, wow, his numbers are dropping, not knowing that the expanded Hasanabi industrial complex sharing the views and growing at the same time. Yeah, I know. The only reason why my channel is like dying, which it is literally, like my channel numbers have diminished dramatically, is because we've been getting post October 7, YouTube has clamped on my okay? Clamped on my while simultaneously all of the other Hasanabi reaction channels have been blowing up. Bro is stalking your views. Yes, bro, he's obsessed. What do you want to do? I know. People have been saying that my career is going to die literally in perpetuity. Oh, after Bernie drops, you'll drop off. Oh, once the Democrats win, you'll drop off. Oh, you're dropping off now. It hasn't happened yet. You're up 30% from like 3 months ago, Lamau. One day it'll happen, I think. Yeah, I had 150,000 people watching on 137,000 people watching on debate night, which is, of course, once again, a classic drop-off moment. Unless world peace, you'll have something to talk about. That'd be sick. Hassan, yeah. I'm falling off like China is, dude. Every day of the week, there's a new China is falling off moment. He fell off. Guy who is yet to fall on. I know. I wanted to show you a couple really funny tweets that I've seen because why not? Feudalism was actually a pretty good system. Here's why. Everyone had a defined role that served society as a whole. Peasants, vassals, and lords all had responsibilities to each other. It was extremely decentralized. Its hierarchy ensured long-term stability. With hereditary monarchy, it was a lot more difficult for influence peddlers to buy off leaders. Hereditary monarchs' interests were tied to those of the people since they ruled for life. I think the dumbest way, I think this has to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He said hereditary monarchs' interests were tied to those of the people since they ruled for life. It's literally the exact opposite. And I think this is a very simple mistake that a lot of people make, which is that they think personally that they fancy themselves to be lords in this equation and not what they currently are, which is peasants. Like the dude tweeting this out is literally currently a serf, a peasant. So I don't know why he thinks that he would not be a peasant under this structure as well. This is the same idiocy demonstrated by libertarians. Libertarians love getting cucked by their bosses on a daily basis and then imagining that in a future libertarian dystopia, they would be the boss and not the literal slave being held at gunpoint. I found the poster. Yeah. He wishes he was this inbred, which would imply that he is royal. Feudal society was defined by constant famine and social collapse. Europe had hundreds of famines during the feudal era. Capitalism was a progressive force. State stabilized Europe. Yeah, literally. Like, this is so objectively untrue that even the biggest critics of capitalism famously, understandably recognize capitalism as an evolution from the structure, which it was and is. The problem is that evolution does not stop, no matter how hard Fukuyama and many others have acted like it has, and there is no need for further evolution. Here was another psychotic tweet. Hold on. A sub-Saharan streamer attempts to miscegenate with a couple of Greek women, and as you would expect, gets rejected.
Right. Let's watch. Yo, how y'all doing? Yo, how y'all doing? Yo. He's friend of Ronaldo. Yeah, I'm a friend of Ronaldo.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We are very nice to meet you, but we are okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Steve, can you sign my heart, bro?
All right. Bro. Sociofactors, an astute observer of the modern inadequacies of Western civilization. Relevant to the feudalism tweet? Oh, classic. That's a crazy way to say the N-word. Yeah. I don't know why they're still afraid of saying the N-word while being like an openly white supremacist account. In October 2020, the Trump administration issued an executive order that would have stripped protections from civil servants perceived as disloyal to the president and encourage expressions of allegiance to the president when hiring. This is Schedule F, which is one of the scariest aspects of Project 2025. This is the main thing separating Agenda 47 from Project 2025. He did this in 2020. He will do it again in 2025, meaning there's nothing in Project 2025 that Trump won't do if he wins. Yeah, no, I think it's an abject lie when he says like, oh, I don't know what Project 2025 is. Oh, he said it gets rejected. Oh, he called I Show Speed it. See, that's the thing. He's calling him sub-Saharan and saying it, and still is too afraid to say the N word for some weird reason. And I don't really understand it, because it's like, bro, you are a white supremacist. Why are you still putting around the word? Like, just say it, brother. We know what you're saying. Anyway, as you guys know, after the revelation that I Show Speed declared Turkish döner to be the supreme form of döner, much better than the Greek gyro, I will unconditionally defend him till the day I die. No ands, no ifs, no buts. Turk defensive pact? Yeah, dude. Stronger allegiance. This Turk has a stronger alliance with I Show Speed than mother NATO. Okay? Did you write Project 2025 as a meme, then the right ultimately adopted it as doctrine? Yeah. I memed it into existence. The White House... The White House is in the Fuhrer bunker right now. Holy shit. Biden aide said privately, if major donors don't come along, we'll do it without them. Yeah, good luck. Especially considering that major donors have been pumping a shit ton of money into the campaign so far, and they've been outspending Donald Trump in key states, and it hasn't even touched. Like, it hasn't even changed the course, the trajectory of the Brandon campaign, even remotely, and has continued to, and Brandon's polling has looked worse and worse day in, day out, despite the millions of dollars of ad spend that they're dumping. I'm sure they will have an easier time without the tens of millions of dollars. Okay? Certainly. It is so stupid. Anyway, let's get back to Benny boy.
A fully pro-life person, which means that I'm not in favor of the distribution of the abortion pill.
Banning same-sex marriage. What about that part?
I am in favor of traditional marriage between a man and a woman, and I am perfectly fine with anyone having any sort of voluntary sexual arrangement they seek. That's a different thing from whether the government should attach benefits to that personal relationship.
But you think it's a sin to have same-sex marriage?
I mean, I'm confused. Are you asking me as a religious Jew what I think about biblically?
I'm just asking, is it a sin to be gay?
Is it a sin to be gay? I mean, how long do we have here? 2 minutes? I mean, if the basic idea is that sexual orientation is up for government regulation, I'm not in favor of the government regulating the private consenting sexual activity of adults. That is a different thing, once again, from whether the government ought to engage in actual benefits for particular sexual arrangements that adults make.
But again, just you to me, is it a sin or not?
From a religious Jewish perspective, orientation is not a sin, but activity is. That's also the same perspective of most major religions, so far as I'm aware.
Okay. And how about...
Yeah, I mean, he does. He does think it's a sin. He says it all the time. His quote is right behind Eric Swalwell.
Cutting Social Security. Do you support that part of 2025?
I'm not sure what Project 2025's position on Social Security is. I'm in favor.
Yes, dude. Yes, he is. Everything he's saying here, that he's trying to dance around. He's trying to tap dance around this. But of course he's on board. He is a Heritage Foundation talking point machine. Perjury? No, it doesn't work that way, dude. Yeah, they're going to put him in contempt of Congress for lying about his positions. Oh, no. Candace Owens was interviewed, okay?
Of the restructuring of Social Security along the lines of privatization and lowering and increasing the retirement age, because you, as well as every other congressperson, knows Social Security is going to go bankrupt, and yet everyone seems to have an interest in lying about it for the next decade and a half until we have to take austerity measures or radically increase inflation or taxes.
And bans against books about slavery. Do you support that part about?
Why would I possibly be in favor of bans about books about slavery? That would be absolutely ridiculous. What I am in favor of is the idea that school libraries should be able to make decisions along the lines of what exactly is appropriate for, say, a 7th grader and whether they ought to be treated to cartoons and genderqueer. That's not quite the same thing.
And just because we found some receipts, you did say, I think homosexual activity is a sin.
Yes, I'm a religious Jew,
I'm
that's
sure
true.
There's a genetic component.
You found me out.
Orientation. But the view of all religious people I know has always been that sexual behavior is something that is up to you. And you said, I may have a desire to sleep with many women, but I do not.
I agree with me. Yes, that's true.
Congratulations on your, I'm sure it's very hard to restrain yourself. Mr. Chairman, I just want to shift to Alvin Bragg. He was supposed to.
He should ask him if he's such a religious Jew, why does he care about abortion? Because there's no restrictions on abortion in terms of the ones that he especially espouses and advocates for under Judaism. As a matter of fact, there's a lack of restriction on abortion. Hold on. Are you here? Yeah, I'm here. Hold on. I'm unlocking the door. Felix Biederman in the building, boys. Dude, if you send me the fucking breaking points, the feds are declaring war over the UAW, over their stance on Gaza one more time, I'm just going to nuke you into orbit. Okay? That is a 23-minute video from Breaking Points. I'm not interested in watching that. I'm sorry. No disrespect. Okay? But there ain't no way I'm watching that right now. It's not happening. Oh, Ben also got confronted after this hearing, but we'll talk about that in a second.
This week, and he's not coming. And Hunter Biden was supposed to testify. Now he's not testifying. We were supposed to have votes on articles of impeachment, and we didn't. And again, we're just wondering, you guys write great press releases, but the payoff seems to never come. And so I guess we will keep waiting, and we'll do hearings like this. And finally, Chairman, you cannot yell fire in a crowded theater, but
God, Swalwell sucks so bad. Breaking news. Ben Shapiro calls out Biden's full-scale mental collapse in Congress. Okay. Why is the government platforming Ben Shapiro and think they're going to get a win, bro? Only you could. You and the Sam and the Felix and the Matt. Yeah, Eric Swalwell is so ass. Like, Eric Swalwell is so ass. He should have immediately known that the person that is trying to have sex with him is a Chinese spy, because absolutely zero people find him sexually attractive. Okay. I can't believe that. That's real, by the way. He did. He Chinese spy. That's not even a joke. That's legit. So awesome. He's a himbo. Come on. Yeah, okay.
In the American public, and what you've been perpetuating, hate, racism, white supremacy, and the genocide that is being carried out on the Palestinian people.
And how does it feel to stand for Hamas? Does that feel good to you? Do you feel good standing in solidarity with a terrorist group that has murdered 1,200
I feel very good
Jews
standing
and
in
keeps
solidarity
people
with Palestinian people who have been murdered by Israel, by U.S. paid tax dollars and bonds, and you have continued to spew hate.
Hamas should not start a war on behalf of its citizens and then shoot its own citizens, and you stand for it, makes you a disgrace
the people
to human
in
dignity and
Palestine
human
have been
rights.
occupied for 75 years, and the blood is on the hands of every person in this Congress and every person who watches your propaganda of hate, white supremacy, and racism. You have been poisoning.
He gets real mad about that. Also, look at how tiny he is, dude. Look at how tiny he is. Little man. Little guy. Little guy. That's an L for the spy. Now that Felix is here, we'll watch Historian explains why dropping Biden won't help Democrats. I'm very excited to have him here to cover some of the stuff. They showed the "My wife can't get wet" tweet of Ben Shapiro in the hearing. Stop. You could carry Ben over the threshold like your teensy little bride. Have them all on. They can all come on if they want to. Yeah, I can't wait to watch this Wall Street Journal video.